Hi friends, happy Wednesday. Today I'm going to show you an update of our caterpillars and their chrysalis. They're not really doing much of anything quite yet. And remember, I don't want to touch them because I feel like I'm bugging them too much, and I want to make sure that I'm not disrupting their process. So I'm going to take the phone and show you our caterpillars and their chrysalises. Now keep in mind, it's really hard to tell really what they look like because of the net. So just see if you can take a look. They're still sleeping, waiting patiently. And then if you look over here, I have a cotton ball, and it's full of, I mixed some sugar and I mixed some water together, and I soaked the cotton ball in that sugar water because when the butterflies come out, I want them to have something to eat, and we know that they eat the nectar from plants, and I don't have any plants to put in there, so nectar is actually just like a sweet liquid, so I put some sugar water in there for them to have when they come out. You could also put little pieces of fruit in there, like an orange or a watermelon or a banana, for them to eat that when they come out. So I hope that they come out very soon, and when they do, I will show you, and it's going to be super exciting. And I also brought all these butterflies right here. I would have had you guys be able to look at these in the classroom, but I'm going to show you how many different kinds of butterflies there are. If you look, that one's really pretty, and I think this is a yellow swallowtail because the tail has this, or its wing has this tail like this. So I wonder if our butterflies will look like this. And here's another butterfly that has tails on its wings. I'm not sure what this one's called, but they're very pretty. And those ones were, here's another big one. This one looks like a monarch. It's not very orange, but it looks like a monarch. There's no tails on its wings. And then look at here, some really tiny ones, and look how pretty they are. Look at the blue. There's another blue one. Now these are just plastic like toys, so don't think these are actual butterflies. And oh look, here's a tiny one that has little tails on its wings. And then this one's really pretty. It's bright and orange. Oh! Bright and orange, and it has black dots. And then here's my favorite. I don't know what this is, but it's blue and I like it. So today I'm also going to show you the butterfly life cycle using your pasta pieces. Now if you haven't made it already, you can watch this video and make it with me. And if you've already made it, you can just watch and maybe you draw a picture while I'm doing it. But I'm going to show you how to do it, and I'm going to talk you through it. Okay, so today we are going to make our life cycle of a butterfly craft. And these are all the materials that you're going to need to make this craft. You'll need some white glue and a glue stick. You'll need your labels from your bag. You'll need pasta pieces from your bag. 3 green rectangles, and your purple folded up piece of paper that you'll need to unfold just like this, and you'll be able to see there are like 4 different sections on your piece of paper from the folds. So the first thing that we need to do is we actually need to cut these green pieces into a leaf shape. So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm actually just going to kind of curve both sides and just make it look like the leaf shape. There's no need to make it perfect. That looks great. And then, so now we have those 3 leaves cut. So let's start by labeling our project. So the label is actually this piece right here. The life cycle of a butterfly, that big long piece. And what we're going to do is we're going to very carefully put glue on the back of this piece, and then it's going to go at the very top. So you need to lay your purple piece horizontally, so it's going side to side, left to right. And what you're going to do is you're going to put your label at the very top, right in the middle. So that way we know that we're working on the life cycle of a butterfly. And then our next step is going to be putting our 3 leaves in the first 3 sections. So, because I know that the first part of the butterfly's life, it's not a butterfly yet, and I know that it lives on a leaf, very first in its life. So I'm just going to put this right in the middle of the section. And I'm leaving a little bit underneath at the bottom because I need to put a label of what part of the life cycle it is. There's 2. And 3. Okay. So we have section 1, section 2, section 3, and section 4. Now, this is where I'm going to need to use my white glue. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at all 4 of my little pasta pieces. Now, this is actually a bean, a white bean. It's called a navy bean. But that is going to represent our egg. So we know that caterpillars don't just pop out of nowhere. A butterfly has to lay an egg. So this is our first part of the life cycle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my white glue and I'm going to just put a little bit right there on that leaf, right in the middle. I'm going to very carefully lay that right there. So now we need to label this section. So this section and this part of the butterfly's life cycle is the egg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find which one starts with E. Here it is, egg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my glue stick and very carefully, it's a little piece, I know, put glue on that label and it's going to go right at the bottom, just like that. Oops. Labeling this section or this part of the life cycle as the egg. So the caterpillar starts out as an egg. And then we know after the egg, what comes out of the egg is a caterpillar. So let's look at our pasta pieces and see which one looks most like a caterpillar. I think this one does. And this is actually a piece of rotini pasta. You may have had this for dinner or lunch sometime, in a pasta salad maybe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully put a little bit of glue on this leaf in my second section and very carefully put it right there. Now I can't mess with it because I need to let the glue dry. So now I need to label this part of the life cycle, and we know that after the egg comes the caterpillar. Now let's see if we can figure out what word says caterpillar. Now I know it starts with a k sound. So I know it's not this one because that starts with a b sound. Now let's look. Do we see, which one do you think says caterpillar? Let's listen for the next sound in that word starts with an A. So it must be this one because this one has an H. So here's our caterpillar label. Just putting some glue on there very carefully. It's going to go right in the middle of that second section, labeling that as our caterpillar. All right, now, so we have egg, and what comes out of the egg is a caterpillar. After the egg hatches, it becomes a caterpillar. And then we actually got to see this part of the life cycle. So we know that the caterpillars, after about 7 to 10 days, the caterpillars, they eat, and they get super fat. And they shed their skin a few times, just like when we have clothes that don't fit us anymore because we're growing, they don't fit us anymore. That's the way that a caterpillar's skin is. So when they eat, they can't fit into their skin. They have to shed their skin. They do that a couple times before they create this sleeping bag around them. They get all snuggled up in a sleeping bag, which is their chrysalis. So let's see, which one of these looks most like a chrysalis? Which pasta piece? I think definitely this one. Now it's up to you whether you want to glue it on your paper like this, or you can try to glue it on your paper like this, and I'm going to show you how to do that easily. So I want to glue it so that the open part is facing down. This might be a little bit tricky. You might need mom and dad to help you. Is to put glue around the edge of that pasta piece, and it's okay if it gets outside the pasta because this glue is actually going to dry clear, and it doesn't matter because as long as it's stuck on your paper, you're good to go. And then I'm actually going to put a little bit on my paper too, just to ensure that it's actually going to stick. There we go. Now I need to label this part of the life cycle. Now we know this is a chrysalis, so let's look at our labels. So we have one that starts with a k sound and one that starts with a b sound. So I think I might know. It's this one, chrysalis, chrysalis. So I'm going to use my glue stick. And you know that in, I think it was the Pete the Cat book, they called this part of the life cycle a pupa. So you could, it's either a chrysalis or a pupa. Those mean the same thing. And then, I know some of you may have heard it maybe called a cocoon. Did you know that only moths make cocoons and butterflies make a pupa or a chrysalis? Isn't that neat? All right, so our last section, we have egg. What comes out of the egg is a caterpillar. And then the caterpillar makes a nice sleeping bag around itself, ready for some change, and it goes into a chrysalis. And then this is the section that we are waiting on for our butterflies. So after about a few days of them in their chrysalis, there's a lot of change happening inside of there. And when it's ready to come out, it's going to come out as a beautiful butterfly. And that's what this last piece of pasta is. This is bow tie pasta. This is my favorite pasta. It's so fun to eat. Bow tie pasta. So there's our butterfly, and here's our last label. With a butterfly. And then, just like our apple life cycle, our pumpkin life cycle, we learned about those in the fall. We know that when it comes to the end of the life cycle, it goes right back to the beginning. Just like our apple, we know that an apple seed has to get planted, and then a tree grows, and then apples grow on that tree, and then inside the apple is a seed. So it starts right back at the beginning. So we have egg, and then caterpillar, chrysalis, and then butterfly. And then guess what? That butterfly lays eggs. It lays more eggs, and then more butterflies happen, and then those butterflies lay eggs. That's why it's called a life cycle, just like the pumpkin and the apple. I hope you guys have fun making this, and I can't wait to see them when you turn them in, and I get to put them in your portfolios. Have fun today making these. See you soon.